preaching in the synagogues. He's been healing every different type of disease and sickness. The word is spreading all throughout Syria. People are gathering. And so he's on this hillside, and he's, the Sermon on the Mount probably occurs over several days, but he starts preaching. And it says in verse 2, Matthew chapter 5, he opened his mouth and began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." I've asked myself before, what does poor in spirit mean? To me, poor in spirit is basically the opposite of pride and personal independence. So you come to the end of yourself, and you have full reliance, and you're fully dependent on God. And you understand your sinful nature. If you look at James chapter 4, it kind of guides you on how you can be poor in spirit. And it says, submit therefore to God. This is James chapter 4, verse 7. Submit therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. A friend of mine reminded me tonight, of being double-minded. You can't serve two masters. You've got to pick one. You can either serve God or you can serve the world. So which one is it going to be? It goes on to say, cleanse your hands, you sinners, purify your hearts, you double-minded. Be miserable and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned into mourning and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves in the presence of the Lord, and he will exalt you. So that is, to me, the picture of what it means to be poor in spirit. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It sounds like a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. You have to be poor in spirit. You have to come to the end of yourself and come to the realization that your selfish ambitions will get you nowhere. Only being in God's will give you peace. If you're a Christian and you're outside of God's will, that's a tough place to be. That's the worst place to be. You feel it. You feel like God. You feel distant from God. He goes on to say, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. It goes back to the James thing about mourning. When's the last time that you really felt the weight of your sin? Jesus felt the weight of your sin on the cross, and he accomplished forgiveness of your sins on the cross and through his resurrection. But he felt it. He had the bitter cup in the garden, and he asked God the Father to take it from him several times, and he didn't.